Stacey J.
And I'm Chuck Duran.
Are you ready for part 2 with the totally cool Phil LaMarr?
Are you asking me or are you asking them?
Both.
Because I'm ready. You ready?
I'm ready.
Let's go. I'm going to ask you another question here, Phil. Are you ready, Mr. LaMarr?
I think it's coming whether I'm ready or not.
Well, actually, before I ask you this question, wait a minute. Weren't you going to ask the question before we cut?
Yes.
Yeah, but you can go ahead.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Because this is not really a question.
It's a riddle.
Before you got here, it's a riddle. That was good. Before you got here today, we were watching you on YouTube.
Ah.
And for anybody out there who wants to laugh your buns off, go to YouTube.
Such a variety
and
of clips.
Phil LaMarr, and I'm telling you right now, you're going to laugh really, really hard. And so we were watching all these different skits on Mad TV and stuff, and one of them that came up was the gay rapper.
Oh, yeah.
I was on the floor. I peed over there. There's still a puddle over there. I couldn't believe that you just like changed your whole freaking thing, and it was so great.
So good.
Can you?
Yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Then you had like the dreads or something, and
yeah. What did he? No, he had
We had the head
braids.
wrap.
He had
like the head wrap.
With the wrap,
Yeah.
with a pink bandana.
Yeah.
Like, yo, man, I knock boots, not pumps. You know what I'm saying?
And the interviewer says, "Well, so being a rapper and on the bus, you must have women throwing themselves on you." And you're like,
What is he saying? It's like, yo, man, I ain't even trying to. I don't love them hoes. I'm all about my G's, yo. You know what I'm saying? That was fun.
So good. I mean, but speaking of Mad TV, I mean,
love
you
that.
had so many fantastic characters. And
gosh.
And Bill at the Thanksgiving table. I mean, that was just.
That's
but,
a great sketch.
So
Really,
how
really
much?
great.
How much did you guys, as cast members, because you were part of the original cast,
Mm-hmm.
how much influence or did you guys have? Did they base the writing off of characters you brought to the situation, or did they create them around you, or was it collaborative?
Generally on our show, most of the character stuff was actor generated. Not all of it, but the vast majority of it.
Yeah.
And then most of the situational stuff was writer generated.
Right.
You know, but they always, as opposed to Saturday Night Live, which is more like gladiator school and like write or die, the writers wrote for the cast. You know, they would come up with sketches. And in fact, if somebody didn't have a sketch or a couple of sketches, they made them come up with sketches for people.
Right.
You know. We didn't write as much as the SNL people write because they weren't paying us to write, and we didn't have to write to survive.
Right.
I think it actually maybe got a little different in the years after I left.
Yeah.
Because they started bringing people on as featured players for 4 episodes. It's like, you have 4 episodes to try to figure out how to be on this sketch show, how we do things, and how you could possibly be funny.
Yeah.
Go!
Yeah. Because you were, what, 4 or 5 years?
I did the first 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, we definitely had a better time of it than the people who came after.
Yeah.
But there's some really talented people who came through that place.
Absolutely,
and I wish there had been a better environment, you know, that was more conducive to, you know, to that talent, you know, because that show could have been great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the cast, the original guys were so great. It was such a
Absolutely.
great chemistry. Are there any lessons you've learned along the way in your career? What are some of the most valuable things that you've learned?
You know what? This is going to sound
You're
little.
asking some really good questions there.
Thank you.
Because she knows I'm very serious.
I'm
Thank you.
inspired.
I'm
No,
glad you
it was
asked that,
well, and
Stacey.
it was such a privilege to do research. I mean, I just you're just a really wonderful person, and then it was like, yeah, of course you are. I mean, it's just like you have this wonderful energy about you,
Okay.
and yeah, sketchy.
It's very sketchy. but that's my old life.
Yeah.
That's all erased, and all
That's
those
in
people
the
are
extra
dead.
features.
All those
We're not
people are
talking about
dead.
that.
But no, one of the things that I've figured out, well, I don't know, it's not figured out, it's what I think, what I've seen. And it was a horrible realization that in this business, and starting out in this business especially, ambition is, I think, more important than talent. Because I have seen really, really talented people who didn't want it badly enough go by the wayside. And I've seen people who weren't that great just hammer their head against the wall over and over again until that wall fell, you know? And it's interesting because I remember working with Will Smith on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and he was already a star. Couldn't act at all. You know, he was not an actor. But he got himself an opportunity, and he made the most of that opportunity and taught himself to act. I mean, I'm sure it's easier when you're making $1 million a week.
Yes.
Yeah, you can hire some people
You've
that are
got
pretty good
time
at
to
it.
play at that, yes.
But also, to his credit, he did work to get better. There are a lot of people who become stars and don't.
Yeah.
And I do think that talent will out over time.
Yeah.
I think you got to have that drive to get you over all the hurdles, you know, the psychological
Right,
and the psychic
right.
hurdles of just like, you know, being evaluated and being rejected. Although, I also think that the rejection, people say, it must be so hard to be rejected. The rejection, I don't know who that person is.
Yeah, who is
I
that
think we just
person?
found a new
It keeps
character.
coming out.
Yes.
Yes, that's right. It's my Martin Short impression. But it's not, the rejection is not that bad. That's something you can get used to. Like if somebody, you know, hits you at lunchtime every day in the arm, you get used to it.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, my arm gets stronger over
Yeah.
time. It's the instability. And if you don't have the temperament for that, you'll never get used to it. The idea they're like, oh my God, I just got a show. The contract says 6 years. I'm set for life. I can buy my mother a house. Oh, you guys were canceled after 4 episodes.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
And now it's even worse. It's like if you don't get it that pilot episode,
Yeah, see ya.
bye.
You know?
Crazy.
And the fact that everything we do, we're temps. No matter what it is.
It's,
You know, you were in the biggest movie that year. You know what? You shot it for 16 months, then it was over.
Yeah.
You had to find another job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, even Tom Hanks is a temp.
Yeah.
Granted, he can make himself another job, but he's
Yeah.
got to go get another job.
Yeah.
Right, right.
You know? And I think for some people, regardless of how skilled or talented or amazing they are as performers, if you can't take that, if you can't hack not knowing, you know, where your rent's going to come from next month, what you're going to be doing next year, are you going to be able to provide for your family? Maybe. If you can't take that, then you can't be in this business.
Yeah. That's for darn sure.
Since your genius dog play, that we will now be the code name is dog play. But, you know, when you had that feeling about wanting to quit, have you ever had that feeling again since then about, oh, I just don't know if I can hack the instability and the
No.
no.
So you only wanted to quit once.
Yeah. And it was before I started.
Before you started.
Well, I mean, because I've realized that I love, I mean, I remember coming on the plane back home, I was thinking, well, I don't know what else I like acting, pretty good at it. I guess I'll give that a try until something better comes along.
Yeah.
You know? I wasn't, and I felt bad because I didn't feel like I was committed to it. There were people like, I have to act or I'll die. I'm like, no, I could teach.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a couple of things I could do.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I could probably go to law school. I don't know. But
Uber, you could drive Uber.
Well,
and
now.
maybe that's also the secret too. And when you were talking about too, your auditions, you send them out there and you're like, okay, what's for dinner? Is knowing that there isn't that desperation, that you do have a plan B and C and D and G but that you're just not choosing them.
Well, and also that you have to give up a certain amount of control. There's a zen to it.
Yeah.
I worked for a casting director as an intern during college, and that was the best thing I could have done because I realized it's not about you as an actor.
Yeah.
You don't make the decision.
Right.
There are 900 other factors other than your performance, but all you can control is your performance. So that's all you got to worry about.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
I love it. Can I ask him a question?
Yeah,
now?
go ahead. I know,
Okay.
I'm hogging Phil. Sorry.
Whew. Man, Phil.
Like, he can
so-
feel me like
So-
I'm like jumping in.
Okay, so
I'll
I
wait
wanna-
my turn.
Yeah. Are you? We walk around the. It's funny. We walk around the house. The Walking Dead. I'm a big.
Oh, yes.
And
Well,
so,
I know, and I
you
said
know,
he has to ask you about, because you did the Rick Grimes,
which
right?
we're going to talk
Yes.
about. But
Yes.
the only way to kill one of the walkers is to basically
Stab you
stab
in
him
the
in the
head.
head.
Right,
So
right.
like, I'll walk around the house and she'll be around. I'll go like, and she'll like stab me in the head with like her wrist, and then she does the same to me, and I'll hit her, and we just my microphone,
Should we
Sennheiser.
start that again?
We need some new
Sorry,
mics, baby.
Sennheiser,
No.
we-
This is live.
No, we're going, baby.
We're going.
Baby. So what was
Well,
I
now,
gonna ask
no,
him?
do you think they can also? You can also like do a neck crack. Will that also kill
Well,
me?
you have to take the neck off.
Sever the spinal cord, I guess.
Yeah. You have to
Or is
take-
I don't know. I'm trying to remember now because I was just watching the last episode, and I swear at one point he did a neck break.
He did.
Without going all the way through the brain.
Yeah, he might have.
Trying to mix it up a little.
Well, they're trying to mix it up a little.
Got to.
Absolutely, man. So is Glenn dead? I think not.
so.
Just saying. We'll find out next week, huh?
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your Walking Dead adventure there.
Dude, I'm a huge comic book guy.
Yeah.
Not a zombie person, not a horror person, but The Walking Dead is one of the best comic books ever. Because it's not about the zombies, it's about the people.
Right.
And the fact that, to me, the zombie movies that I've seen, I was always like, well, how is it over? Like, now what?
Yeah, now what?
Yeah.
And the fact that they answer that question, issue after issue, and it's like, you got to live in this, man.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Yeah.
When the series was announced, because I'd been reading the comic, and I was like, I called my manager. It's like, look for this. You gotta find me something.
Yeah.
You know. And at the time, the only black male character was the Morgan, the man that that saves Rick at the very beginning.
Yeah.
And I was like, you got to get me an audition for Morgan. It's a character named Morgan. Just find it.
Yeah.
You know. But I didn't get it, and they went older, and Lenny James is bloody amazing.
Yes.
You actually would have been pretty great as that.
I think I could have done something, but I don't think I could have done it as well as he's doing.
Yeah, he's so great acting on that show, man.
So
Freaking crazy. Well, that's cool, dude.
Thanks,
But didn't you play Rick Grimes
yes.
in an animation?
There was a motion comic of the first issue, and I was trying to get involved in it in any way possible.
Yeah.
You know, and so I got a chance to do that. I'm like, yes,
whatever.
Okay, whatever you're
it.
paying, whatever, yes.
Yeah.
But I wound up doing the voice of Rick and actually Shane, because I was the only one doing it.
Yeah.
And those are the only two characters that speak in that issue.
Hello.
Thank you.
Well, to talk a little bit about some of your
Hold
past.
on, I have another question.
Okay.
You've been hogging Phil. I got one more question. So I'm going to get serious now
Okay.
a little bit.
Oh,
though.
okay. Barbara Walters is coming out.
Your best.
You will a tweet.
So 3 of your best friends.
Okay.
Okay. Let's just say that you had some best friends.
Yes.
So
Theoretically.
Theoretically. So 3 of your best friends.
I'm a loner, Dottie. A rebel.
3 of your best friends come up to you and say, "Hey, Phil, listen, man." And they've been working at voiceover and acting, and they really want to do this pro, but they haven't gotten there yet, okay? And they know that you've had some success and all that stuff. And they're serious about it. I said, "Phil, man, I want to make this year, 2016, I want to make this year really, really count and get to a pro level. What are, a few things that I can do right off the bat to make this year really count?" What would you tell them?
God, I don't know. That's a tough one because.
Besides, I don't know.
Well, to me, there are 2 paths.
Yeah.
There is working your skills, and then there's working the business.
Yeah.
And they're not the same thing. And I had the wonderful fortune to not have to worry as much about the business aspect, when I started out in voiceover.
Yeah.
Because I had already established an on-camera career.
Yeah.
And I got an agent without a demo.
Yeah.
Because there was an agent who wanted to represent me for on-camera commercials, which I'm
Your fave.
allergic to.
Yeah.
And I said, all right, I will let you send me out for on-camera commercials if, do you have a voiceover department? He's like, yes, if you hook me up with your voiceover department. And it happened to be a really good, it was Kelly Garner was at Abrams at the time, and he was going and getting it. And it was great. He was building his, office
Roster.
at the same time,
Right.
I was building a career. The main thing I tell everybody is, even though it's voice acting, the acting comes first. It should be called acting voice, because you have to be able to use those acting skills. You have to be able to create characters, commit to them. You have to be able to interpret a script, and this is actually something that I did not realize until probably 6 years into my voiceover career, how hard it is to read words off of a page without sounding like you're reading words off a page.
Yeah.
When we did Justice League, we had a lot of on-camera actors come, I won't say stunt casting, but it was stunt
Right.
casting.
Yes.
On-camera actors come in to do voices. And there were people who you had seen be fantastic on camera.
Yeesh.
You in there's like, oh my God, I don't think this man can read, And you
Yeah.
realize it's a different skill set to like, take a script and be home with it for a week and absorb it into your body and work blocking. And when I say this, I'm gonna say that. And to read it off a page into a microphone and have it pop.
Yeah.
It's a different skill.
As if it was memorized.
Yeah, you don't have the close-up.
Yes.
You don't have any of that.
Yeah, and of course, figuring out how you express vocally what you're used to expressing facially, and or with your body, what I would tell my friends, because obviously if they're my friends, I know them and I know what they're capable of. I would help them assess their acting ability, and then tell them the first thing you need to do is figure out a way to get mic time. Because there really is something about being on a mic. And I mean, if you haven't done it before, or if you've done a different kind of acting, you have to figure out your way around it. The same way you have to learn stage. Oh wait, which one is stage right, which one is stage left? Upstage, does that mean I go, no, that means go back. Got it. There are all those little technical things that you have to get a hold of, On camera, don't ever turn away.
Right.
No one wants to see the back of your damn head, And the same thing with the mic. How do I express myself without going and screaming into the mic or turning my head or, You've got to figure all that stuff out. And it takes a minute.
Yeah.
I remember one of my first jobs, they said, okay, that was really great. Can we have that take again, but angrier? And I did it again. And they said, we're going to play it back for you. We're going to play both takes back. And I realized it was the exact same thing. I just made an angrier face.
Oh.
So you went from this to this, but the same voice.
And then you learn all those little tricks, like if you smile while you're saying something, it sounds warmer.
Sounds brighter, friendlier.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
If I'm talking to you like this, or if I'm talking to you like this, the words sound different coming out of a smile, and you can hear it.
Yeah.
You figure out all those little angles.
Yeah.
That's to me what part of what mic time is about.
Yep.
And
Which is very, very important. Skill, mic time, and what else?
Well, it's funny. I have a buddy named Tommy Smelter who says whenever anybody asks him they want to get into voiceover, he says, go home, read out loud to yourself for an hour for a week straight, and then come back to me. You have to learn to hear your own voice. You got to know what you sound like and know what you don't sound like. Because that's the thing. When somebody, I remember being in a session with a person directing who was not a director, and we spent 5 minutes on this one line, and he kept giving me a line reading. I wanted to say, and he kept saying the line over and over again. And then finally he said, it's got to sound like he's mad. I'm like, oh, that was you being angry? Because I did not get that at all from what you were doing.
Yeah.
Had you just said mad,
use all your words.
We would have, but you know how it is? He didn't know how he sounded.
Yeah.
He thought he sounded angry.
Yeah.
And perhaps he does, and that's why he never wins a fight.
That is exactly. He doesn't ever win a fight. He's not angry.
Nobody ever backs off when I yell at them.
We know why.
Exactly.
That's good.
So I want to just touch a little more on, you mentioned the business side, because so many of you guys who have these wonderfully long, fabulous careers, but like if you were starting out right now, how would you navigate through the whole digital part of it, and the website, and the demo, and the social media, and
I have no idea.
Yeah.
It's funny because people ask me, they're like, how do I get started in voiceover? I'm like, oh, I started out in analog, baby. Y'all in digital.
Yeah.
It's a whole other world.
Well, you mentioned D. Baker because he's got the iwannabea.voiceactor.com website, which is great.
I send people to that constantly.
Yes. So between that and VO Buzz Weekly,
then you're done.
Okay, next.
Yeah. Well, because obviously you have to have a much greater level of technical proficiency now than you did when we were starting out. Because before there was a guy.
Yeah, there was a guy
who did it.
Who did it? Yeah.
And now that guy is out of work, and they want you to do it from home.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And not only that, so many things have changed. Like the guy, the reads that they wanted, 10 years ago, is what they use as to what they don't want today. So everybody has to relearn, like some of the guys that got in, that have to relearn a lot of the stuff that's big today.
We don't want it announcery.
Non-actor.
But as far as the business side of the business, right? Because it's the entertainment business. So as far as business goes, like what are some business things that you do, okay, even without technology, that you think make you effective and help your career stay strong?
For me, it's mostly what you do when you're at a job. The being professional, being on time, being efficient, knowing what you're doing, and being nice. I mean, in voiceover is by and large a scale business. Nobody's making $1 million, except for Chris Rock. And the truth of the matter is, nobody's getting paid enough to deal with your BS. On camera, people go, okay, he can't come out of his trailer. Nobody.
There's blue M&Ms. He can't come out. Yeah.
Nobody wants to deal with that in voiceover.
Yeah, no.
Nobody has the time.
No.
Dude, we got 4 hours.
Yeah.
Nobody's getting paid overtime.
Yeah.
Do your job.
And
hit
out.
it and quit it.
Yeah.
Get out. Yeah. And also, be respectful. Of the work of your fellow talent, and the people you work for. I'm still learning that. I could be much better. It took me years before I realized, I should probably know who's on the other side of the glass. And that's something that I think is important because people want to be acknowledged.
Yeah.
And, come back into a session, it's like, hi, nice to meet you. Actually, you worked for me last week.
Yeah.
Did I?
I'm pretty.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it was weird because I think part of it was coming from on camera where you spend hours and hours and hours with people and you just sort of like absorb, that contact. But in a voiceover session, you go in one door, they're in another door, there's a glass, you're only talking to one person. You really have to make the effort to get to know the writers, the storyboard artist who's just there for the day and he feels out of place too, So now make more of an effort to know my collaborators.
Yeah, and make the other people that you're working with feel important, right?
Exactly. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I like
Everyone
that.
wants to be heard.
What do you still want to accomplish in your career?
That's an interesting question. I would like to, would I like to?
I could ask you an uninteresting question.
No. Because I was fighting with whether this is something I would like or whether it's something I think I need.
Okay.
And it is in fact something I think I need. Okay. I would like for people to just continue to hand me jobs until I drop dead.
Yes.
That's what I would like.
No more auditions.
No, just
bring it
to me.
Yeah.
Put the mic there. Yeah. Grapes here, mic here.
Yeah. We can hear the fanning sound. You need to stop when he speaks. Yes. Okay, so after that happens.
But what I think I need is to be more creative, to generate work for myself and others, and part of it is because I feel like I can. And because I can, I should,
Yeah.
Well, how did Blackout Television come out? Because isn't that totally improvised? I mean, what? Can you talk a little bit more about that project?
Blackout Television was a TV pilot we did earlier this year. It's a group of people that I perform with in an improv show called The Black Version. Gary Anthony Williams, Jordan Black, Cedric Yarbrough, Danielle Gaither, Karen Mariyama, and me. We started out doing this stage show where we would take a suggestion from the audience of a classic or iconic movie, and then we would improvise the black version of it. And it's
got to be hysterical.
It's so much fun. It's so much fun.
The ensemble is so great.
Yeah,
it's so
and
great.
They're all so talented. And then this producer came along and said, I love the show. I want to do something with it. And so we started doing a podcast where we take a couple of different formats. We had like a morning show, like a Good Morning America type show, but like low rent. We had a lady judge show.
I love that one.
Lady Justice. She's not actually a judge. She's just a woman who's been through the system and know how things work. And we would sit down in front of the mics, hash out a couple of premises or bits, you know, and for like 5 minutes, and then start rolling. And we go, you know, for 30 minutes, start to finish, and find an out.
And find it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we took the morning show version of that and started pitching it as a TV show, along with this producer guy. And TV1 bought it as a pilot, and we did, although at that point it became something different. It became like they wanted an hour-long late-night show, kind of like The Daily Show, so topical. It's like, all right.
Wow.
Okay.
That's a little, yeah. We're going to have to stretch for that.
Well,
We're going to improv that?
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and we were doing the sort of Curb Your Enthusiasm style, where you lay out a bunch of beats, like you kind of know what's going to happen, but you
Yeah.
don't write any script, any dialogue. It's just like, okay, you're going to talk about this, we're going to talk about this, go, 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 go.
Yeah.
And it turned out really well. TV1 ultimately did not buy it, because I think they wanted an hour-long daily show, black daily show. It's like, well, you can't really afford that.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because for a topical show,
gosh, man.
you need a huge
Massive.
staff of writers.
Yeah,
Because you got to
yeah.
throw stuff against the wall and hope something sticks.
Yeah.
You know, our thing was more character oriented and character based, because that's where the
Well,
improv
I think
comes
what I
from.
loved about it was it's like you had a cast of thousands, but it was just the 6 of you. I mean,
Yeah.
it sounded, it was like, gosh, there were like 50 people in there, but it was just you guys all pulling out of
That
your
was so much fun. 'Cause,
genius
cool, man.
library.
you know, and sometimes you would label somebody because you know they do an impression or something.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, oh, we've got Bill Cosby on the phone, and then like Cedric's like, okay, you know,
Yeah.
and that was so much fun.
That's so
Love
cool.
it.
I love
What
it.
are some of your? Well, let's go back a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
We can't have you here without mentioning a few. I mean, we talked a little bit about Pee Wee's Playhouse,
Yeah.
Pulp Fiction, Marvin, of course, and one of our favorite. We love Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Ah.
And so, you know,
I'm a
when I
Curb
told
freak.
Chuck, I'm like, remember the pharmacist? He's like,
I'm like, yes!
that was
Yes.
Phil.
The
So-
Blacks. Yes.
The blacks,
Yes.
yeah.
That was so much
So
fun.
what are
Yeah,
some
that
things
was
that
good.
stand out to you from those experiences, whether it's Pulp Fiction or Curb or just even your kind of your TV life? I mean, you had such a great, incredible body of work.
Yeah, well,
in the TV
the
realm.
thing that stands out, I mean, the thing that's been the most gratifying for me is over the years, I've gotten to work with such amazing people. And some of them people that I grew up idolizing. Like I did a pilot with Carol Burnett. You know, in Pulp Fiction, I got to work with John Travolta. I mean, I watched every episode of Welcome Back, Kotter.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and it's funny because by the time Pulp Fiction came out, you'd sort of forgotten
Yeah.
how big he was.
Yeah, oh yeah, man.
You
Even as a
know?
youngster, he was like friggin' huge.
Yeah.
And worldwide.
Yeah.
Worldwide.
Like when we were rehearsing for Pulp Fiction, we had because it was such a short shoot and a low budget thing,
Yeah.
we had weeks of rehearsal beforehand. And I had a day of rehearsal with Samuel L. Jackson and John Travolta and Quentin Tarantino. And, you know, we went out for lunch at the little, was it a Honduran restaurant or Mexican restaurant in Culver City. And it was so funny because, you know, there's Sam Jackson who just they had created an award for him at Cannes. You know, Quentin Tarantino had just done Reservoir Dogs. But to this woman, she, you know, barely spoke a word of
who?
English.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
everybody was their meal. You know, it's like a quesadilla, burrito, except for John. It's like, John Travolta. And I realized, oh my God, whatever village she grew up in,
Yeah.
they had a copy of
They had
Saturday
a
Night
copy.
Fever.
Yeah, they did, man.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah,
They
yeah.
did.
It was everywhere.
Yeah.
And it was amazing because after the movie hit, he went back to where he had been before.
Totally.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
everybody was waiting for it.
Yeah.
You know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, you've had definitely a pretty good run there, man. Not had,
Still
are
running.
having.
Still running.
Okay, let's go back, rewind.
But you know what, Chuck? That's actually one of the weirdest things is because now, you know, I mean, Mad TV was 20 years ago this year. And it's weird having people coming up to you and saying, I grew up watching you. And they're grown.
Yeah,
They're not, it's like, they're 28.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, wow. And you were actually not even old enough to be watching me
Right,
at the
right.
time.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. What
Yeah.
kind of parents do you have?
Well, but I mean, you know, your body of work, you have so many incredible voiceover projects. You know, Turbo Fast on Netflix, you've got Justice League, Futurama, of course, which was such a fan favorite, such that wonderful animation sci-fi. Are there any new projects you can talk about that?
Yeah. What did we just do? We
won't
just
get in
did
trouble?
Minecraft Story Mode. No, that was last year. But a new project I'm working on that I'm really excited about. I just worked on the new show by the creators of Phineas and Ferb.
Oh, cool. What show is that?
Milo Murphy.
Oh, wow.
It's Milo Murphy's
Yeah.
Law.
Yeah,
Sorry, because it's
yeah.
Murphy's Law, so
Yeah,
bad things always
yeah.
happen to him.
Okay.
Yeah.
And also working on the first Lion King project for TV. It's called The Lion Guard, and that it's amazing. The animation looks like the movie animation,
Yeah.
Wow.
which is not easy to
That's
do on
probably
television.
gonna be freaking huge, dude.
I hope so.
That's
I
exciting.
hope so.
That's
Yeah.
exciting.
So, it's really
So you're out and about, and you make a lot of appearances at conventions and stuff. What do you get out of doing them? Why do you go and do them?
It's twofold. One, I actually like meeting people. Like last week there was one, and I met. I talked to Walter Koenig, Chekhov,
Yeah.
and Nichelle Nichols, Uhura, and like just backstage.
Yeah.
I've gotten my picture with Billy D. Williams and Adam West. Like icons.
Icons, yeah.
So that part is super fun. Also, as a comic book head, going to comic book conventions and meeting the artists and creators that I'm, a fan of, from when I was younger and now, and I've gotten to be friends with, some of the people that whose work I just adore.
Yeah.
And that's always lovely.
Yeah.
And which of your characters do you get booked on for the cons? Like which of the?
Well, that's the weird thing is that I've been, over the last couple of years, doing more of these things and trying to figure it out. Because a couple of weeks ago, I was at something with Kevin Conroy.
Yeah.
And Kevin is Batman.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I realized I don't have one iconic character. I have sort of a smattering of things
Yeah.
that people, respond to.
Yeah.
That are now been around long enough that there's a nostalgia effect. They're like, oh, I loved that. A lot of it is Green Lantern. A lot of it is Hermes from
Yes.
Futurama.
Yes.
Because animation has a deep fandom, and sci-fi has a deep fandom, and it's like the combo.
The combo,
Right,
yeah.
right.
Yeah, it's a combo
right.
plate. And for somehow the fans are like doubled down on it.
Yeah.
They really dig the show. So I would say those are the main two. Although a short-lived show I did called Samurai Jack, which was just a work of art.
Yeah.
I get a lot of people who are fans
You
of
actually
that.
know it, yeah. And,
Right,
Yeah,
That's cool.
and more things pop up. Like this show I did, one of my first series was Static Shock.
Oh, yeah.
About a
Yeah.
young African-American
Yeah.
superhero. And more people are coming up and saying, oh, you were the voices, I love that show. And it's weird. It's sort of like,
Yeah.
I don't launch
seasons.
one rocket.
Yeah.
I have a spray of machine gun
exactly.
fire.
That's your
You're not
song
a
right
rifle,
there.
you're the shotgun.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
He's
Shotgun.
only Batman.
Yes.
Well, jeez. If I could steal one of my friend's jobs.
Yeah, exactly. It might be that.
yeah. Phil, what do you think have been the keys to your success and your longevity in this business?
Just keep dancing.
Just keep dancing, having fun.
I wonder. I mean, because that's always the fear, is that it will stop. That suddenly you'll go to
Yeah,
the
but
pump
apparently
and
you're
the
not
well will
worried
be
about
dry.
that. Yeah.
I don't know. I like to think that range helps. As an African American voice actor, I feel like I benefit from being able to play African American characters and characters that are not specifically so.
Right.
And I think
Yale helped
you double
that
your
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I talked about this before
Mastering
Yale.
English really helped you there a little
He
bit.
goes to sessions with his Yale sweatshirt,
Yeah.
and they're like,
I
oh,
went
hi,
to
I'm
Yale.
so Ivy. I'm so Ivy.
It really doesn't help at all. It doesn't help. It just gives people oh.
Yeah.
You're a Yale.
Like if you say Harvard, people are sort of intimidated.
Yeah.
You say Yale, people are just mad. You know, it's like, oh, he went to Harvard. Oh, he probably knows something. I don't know. He went to Yale. It's like, oh, you probably think you're all that.
You're like,
and that's really the response you get. Like, nobody's intimidated.
Yeah.
They just expect that you're an ass.
Oh, well, you could be.
But you know, it's the Harvard guys who are asses.
You're the farthest thing from
That's
that.
funny. We're gonna ask you one
All
more
right,
question.
Phil.
Oh. Is it a koan?
This is the big question.
Give me,
Phil.
yeah, Kari Walgren loved it. She's like, oh, she wanted 2. We gave her 2 because she loved it. So give me a number between 5 and 129.
71.
71. Okay.
Love my prime numbers. Kari Walgren.
She's
somebody who's
amazing.
insanely
What a doll.
talented.
Yes.
It's so funny when you meet people, you know, because like when I came into business, there were these people who were established, you know, Rob Paulson and Jess and Jeff Bennett, you know, and Billy, you know, and you just see them and you're like, oh my God, they're as good as you think they are.
Yeah.
It's amazing to see people come up behind you and then you just spot the superstar.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like whoever was on the Bulls when Michael Jordan first came to
Yeah, yeah,
practice, and they're like,
Yeah, yeah.
oh,
Whoa.
Yeah.
But like the
Yeah.
Karis and the Eric Bauzas, who are just
Yeah.
like, okay,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I love
man.
it. Okay.
Okay, this is just, is there any background? Do I need to know what
No,
that
there's
book
No,
is?
this is just, you know, okay, the Improv King. Ready?
Don't give us a Yale answer either.
If you had to identify the most extreme example of ingratitude you can think of from your own experiences, what would it be?
If I had to identify the most extreme example of ingratitude.
I think we've got it.
And it's funny, this is a lesson to all you aspiring folks out there.
Love it.
Early on in Mad TV, there was a fellow cast member who I will not identify.
He won't say it, Chuck, so don't make him.
What does his first name start with? No, I'm kidding.
But just remember that after we shot the pilot, this person, we were sitting, you know, around the bar, and this person just said, "Oh God, I hope this goes. I just really don't want to have to go back to my waiting job." Cut to, we are somewhere in second season. We're not a hit. Mm-hmm. We got, you know, picked up.
Yeah.
But very few people actually know. I mean, at this point, people say, "What are you on? Mad TV? We're on Fox." "Oh, I don't get cable." Like we're at that level.
Okay. So your
But they-
hype is not fully developed yet.
But the network set us up with a promotional appearance in Anaheim, and so they've got a car that's going to take us down there. This person is supposed to come. We're leaving from work. This person has left work to go do something, and comes back 20 minutes late from when the car is supposed to leave. Gets into the car and goes, "What? No stretch?"
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll come back and haunt you.
That to
Yeah.
me is an example of not only ingratitude, but amnesia.
Yeah.
Like you done forgot where you came from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like really bad.
Well, ingratitude and entitlement are a deadly combination. Yeah. So. Yes.
Well,
Thank you
Phil,
for that example and
Thank
reminder.
you very much. I'm sure there's somebody out there is going to take that with them and not do that.
Yeah.
Buddy, thank you for coming down.
thank you
and
guys
Thank
for
you
having
so
me.
much.
Really
so much
appreciate
fun.
it.
So
Yeah,
happy to have
you're
you.
a really, really cool guy, and you're extremely talented. And
thank you.
I know that all the guys out there are like freaking out because you're doing so much good stuff. We're going to see you guys next week with another show.
Hi, this is Phil LaMarr. I just got buzzed with Chuck and Stacey. Hope you did too.
Where does somebody find all that talent? Can you buy it? Do you rent
I don't
it?
know.
Are you born with it?
All of that. He's amazing. I mean, so versatile, so grounded, he's just like this bottomless fountain of fabulousness.
I kind of want to take him home with us so we can like keep him in the closets anytime like we want to be entertained. We can just
No,
bring
you need
Phil
to let
out.
him be out.
Well, no,
and
but
around.
that's what I'm saying. But not all the time, because
Yeah.
you know we got to have our privacy too.
He has a life.
We're going to be back next week with another brand new episode of VO Buzz Weekly for you. So don't miss out.
Yes, and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And thank you always for watching. We love you guys. Just remember,
You
always have time for a little buzz.